Welcome to the DSQ podcast with Blake Lawson and Dakota Reynolds.
What the f*** was that?
What the f*** was that? From the qualies to the sprint itself to the race itself to the timetable? What the f*** was this weekend?
Yeah, we're starting off straight like that because let's be honest, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired.
No shit.
So we're actually not delaying this episode. We thought we would have to for two things. One, we figured after last week it would take them forever to figure out everything that happened. And two, we were dealing with some November tornadoes here. But luckily I think we are good for the current moment at least till tomorrow. So
Then we're gonna die.
Yep.
So there will be no conclusion to the series. Next episode, all right.
that being said, we do have both the weather and I do have the Maple Leafs came up. So
They are currently tied going into the third period to date when we're recording this.
yes, it's also probably the same day it comes out basically. Well, at least GMT wise. All right, so Brazil. That was something. Obviously, we are loading the largest Chekhov's gun with this one. Of like, boy howdy.
Boy, howdy.
So let's just get into it because there's going to be a lot. And we'll get to our, tiredness and everything later when we actually get to the relevant part of the outline. I had like 3.5 pages, and condensed everything down. Blake, I think, missed a couple sessions just because of work and exhaustion, and still has like 2.5 pages.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. That being said, I guess let's stop delaying it. Pre-weekend stuff. Ollie Behrman, our favorite half man, half bear, filling in for, at first, what was just going to be the sprint, but then he went ahead and did the whole weekend for a sick Kevin Magnussen. So welcome back, Ollie. Officially making him not a F1 junior anymore, so he cannot fill in at, I would assume, Abu Dhabi for Carlos, because Carlos still has to have one sit out for him. And he's not eligible for the rookie race. That is actually probably not happening anyway, or the rookie test later on.
But is Fernando Alonso eligible?
Yes.
Okay. Always eligible.
Two other things. Williams is the only kind of special livery thing. Yellow livery, once again, carrying over from Mexico City.
Once again, I like it.
Yep. And it's kind of just there.
It's there.
Of course, and there was nothing major, but just a lot of Senna stuff everywhere. Obviously, it's Brazil.
It's Brazil, home of the Senna.
Upgrades, one quick second. Sorry, let me get through that. I did that out of order because usually liveries goes into upgrades.
Yeah, no, you're good.
From last week, Charles Leclerc did say the word fuck during the press conference, so he got a 10,000 euro fine, half of that suspended. So, don't say the fuck word.
Don't say the fuck word. Got it. In other fucking news, he did not get community service.
He did not. He got fined.
Because he said sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why. They said, oh yeah, he was genuinely apologetic about it. So, in regards to the most recent event, the punishment should not be so severe.
I feel like the fine is worse. I mean,
Oh no, absolutely it's not. These drivers have like way more money than we'll ever see in our lives. They have a finite amount of time.
Yeah, I guess.
They have approximately the same amount of time that we do. Probably a little bit better, but depends on how safe this sport continues to be. Rest in peace, Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm. Also, Chekhov's gun of talking about safety. We'll get to it. You know what we're talking about. You already know exactly what we're going to talk about with that. But no real upgrades, right?
No real upgrades at all. There were a couple of teams. I didn't even bother writing them down because all of it was circuit-specific stuff anyways. Things that are just literally, hey, we're doing this to the car for Brazil because it go fast. 8 out of the 10 teams did not have upgrades. However, there were a few power unit and RNC changes this weekend. Max Verstappen, notably using his 6th of 4 allotted ICEs and his 8th of 8 exhaust systems. So gets a penalty for the ICEs, not the exhaust system yet. And Oscar Piastri takes his 5th of 5 gearbox drive lines. So that's his last one of those before he takes a penalty. It's a guy named Carlos Sainz that basically took essentially a new car.
Yes.
I think it was for the pit lane start for the actual race, right? Yeah. I noted it originally as exceeded power unit and gearbox because that's what the infringement note said. And then I went and looked and saw what all it was. He took his 5th ICE, his 5th turbocharger, his 5th MGU-H, his 5th MGU-K, his 3rd energy store, his 3rd control electronics, and his 6th entire gearbox. Man's driving a new car. The only thing he didn't change is the exhaust system.
What is that ship that's like the entire thing gets replaced?
Ship of Theseus.
Theseus, there it is. I was trying to think of something with an M. I'm like, no, that's not it. Yeah, the Ferrari of Theseus, driven by Carlos Sainz this weekend.
Oh, yeah, no, by the end of it.
Yeah, and it will be. The thing that I was going to say that I forgot is gone, so never mind.
But yeah, no, that's it for the upgrades.
Yeah. Oh, what I was going to say was obviously a lot of guys, I don't know if you know this. It was kind of wet and very rainy.
A little bit wet.
So a lot of kind of higher downforce. I think the biggest one was McLaren and Mercedes had some swapping specs around to higher downforce because obviously track be wet, yo. Which, speaking of the only, of course, this being our favorite sprint weekend. So only one practice on a brand new coated, paved, that's the word.
There you go.
Track. So FP1, very green, very dusty. Yeah. Foreshadowing, just for different slippery reasons. And also, but new track, new pavement, but still very bouncy. That was the other note I have for the one free practice was Lewis very unhappy with the car. I put that in there more for, more
He's
foreshadowing.
never happy with the car, though.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Literally all he does is complain about the car. This car, I can't drive it, man.
But yeah, so that's our one session. It sucks, I guess. Even though we said like Interlagos is the good sprint race, maybe not when your back is destroyed, Fernando, or Lewis, or anybody who was complaining. I mean, obviously it was bad for a lot of drivers,
but especially your older folks.
Yeah, your senior rookies. I know, and you basically didn't watch sprint quali at all.
Correct.
So, and I don't really have a whole lot of notes, to be honest.
It happened.
It happened. It was a session. I don't remember when it happened. Was that Friday? It was Friday.
I don't know. It was definitely a day.
Yep.
It was a day this week.
Probably your biggest surprise, but not really, was your SQ2 exits of Lewis Hamilton, who traditionally does well at this track. And not so surprising anymore, I guess, of Checo Perez also being out SQ2. That being said, all your commons, Yuki was out Q1, SQ1, Zhou out SQ1, Bottas SQ2. Your top 3 for the sprint being Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Maximum Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz. We'll get to it, don't worry. Just noting this one because it's funny, it's happened like twice now, which isn't a lot. Had another driver meeting infringement.
Oh yeah, with Pierre.
With Pierre, couldn't log in.
Couldn't log in. I think couldn't log in time. Like I think he eventually got in there, is what it said.
Yep,
but
he got basically the second half. So.
Yeah.
What's up with the not being able to log into fucking what? Like
hackers, man. Lizard Squad's really getting at it.
Let's get to the sprint. Let's go through this because the race is its own page. Speaking of, pit lane starts for setup changes. That's Zhou Guan Yu, that's Fernando Alonso, and Lance Stroll. Do all this for the changes. Doesn't really pay off for him.
No. It paid off for one of them. A little bit.
Yeah. I guess I don't remember enough. But kind of a standard sprint. Of course, everybody was talking like, when are they going to swap, papaya rules or not papaya rules? When are they going to swap? They have to swap. And Lando's like, we talked about this. What are we doing? Whatever. Oscar's the very much do it of give Lando DRS call across the radio. That was kind of the only thing anybody ever talked about, so it was kind of annoying. Kind of took away from the sprint race. Sprint race wasn't that exciting, fortunately. Definitely not last year's Interlagos sprint.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Which then we notice on probably lap 20. Like I said earlier, it's new track. It's a little dusty. It's windy. It's bringing, even if it's not raining, it's bringing in dust and other particulate. We noticed Nico have a little bit of something coming off the back of that Haas. Sure enough, it was the engine. Or it wasn't the engine. It was the gearbox, right? Not that the gearbox is part of the engine, whatever.
It's somewhere in there. But yeah.
So he has an engine dies. Hello, VSC. On lap 21 of a 24 thing. That being said, this happens. There's been no McLaren switch. And so, standard procedure, yellow, double waved yellow, car gets shut off. Nico is out of the car, and it is not called a VSC yet.
Yeah, he's just standing there.
It takes about 40 seconds for the VSC to be officially deployed, which, what does a VSC do?
It basically neutralizes the race. Everyone has to maintain a minimum delta time. They can't pass, notably. And yeah, basically makes it to where there is no racing going on.
Mm-hmm. About 40 seconds. Swap the position call goes out. Lando goes ahead of Oscar, and then the VSC goes out. It's a little much of a coincidence. It's really bad.
It's a little dodgy.
Very.
Especially with Nico standing on track. Like, I feel like that should have been an immediate, like, all right, someone is out on the track, whether it be a driver or otherwise, VSC or SC, like, immediately. Yep. There should not be a person, and granted, he's not on the track, but he's like 5 feet away.
I mean, he's clearly where a car who's not going fast due to a dying engine can get, so if a car going fast spins out, very clearly could be a problem here. Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yep. Don't worry. Luckily, we have a lot of incidents we can compare red flag and virtual safety and safety car times to this this event. But yep, Nico is out. Unfortunately, Haas not having a good weekend. Surprisingly, unfortunately, I did tell them they had to step it up, so I guess they're like, okay, well, we won't try now. So.
I feel like I jinxed it because I was like, oh, yeah, every time it seems like Ollie's not going to get any more points, they bring him back in. He has to sit in for Ferrari or Haas. He has to sit in there and somehow finds a way to score some more points. That did not happen this week. Spoiler.
A VSC restart. We know those easily. Max is probably a master at that. When he's leading it, not when he's behind two cars. Gets a little close to Oscar. He gets a 5-second penalty, which ends up costing him his P3 finish, which we didn't. That penalty did not get assessed till after, so he did get his little Lenovo tablet plaque with Carlos and Oscar. Lando and Oscar, sorry.
Yeah.
wrong person in that couple there. But yeah, nobody likes team orders.
No.
I was very upset.
I don't like team orders. I understand they're part of the sport, unfortunately, especially when driver championship stuff is on the line. You want your person to be driver's champion because that's sponsorship money. That's EA Sports knocking down your door. That's literally all of the big name brands that want to find their way in because, hey, that guy just won the driver's championship. Look at Max.
My little rant I'll put on it is, if team orders are going to exist, it's not about the pure racing, it's about the spectacle. So, let's make it the spectacle. Let's bring back our fucking radio channel with the FIA. I want to hear Toto yelling at fucking Michael Massey some more. Also, you thought Michael Massey was bad. Welcome, Michael Massey 2.0. I can't remember who it was this week. Damasio? I don't know. Domenicali. Well, that's the thing. There's so much between race control and the stewards, so it's like, what switch? But But yeah, let's bring back in-person televised driver meetings, and yeah, let's make it a spectacle if we're not going to care about just the pure sport of it. Of hey, Oscar's the better driver, so Oscar, if Lando's this world champion contender, he needs to fight for that spot. And I'm giving Lando the credit I always do when he improves on his attitude, which he did. He's like, "Yep," I was like, "I didn't want to win this way, but this is how it is." I'm like, "Okay, I respect that, but also then don't do that." You guys can talk about this. Multi 21, like drivers can do whatever the fuck they want to, really. I don't think Zach Brown's really going to come down on you for that. Yeah. But that's my little rant. I came to the realization I'm so kind of like tired of the coverage of F1 here recently. Like it's all the same of McLaren fucked up and Lando and team orders and Checo is garbage and just like the same material over and over again. Like that horse or the cow is so far milked out. The horse is so fucking dead. Like just enough.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunately a problem with F1 media as a whole. It does just sort of get regurgitated from bit to bit to bit to bit to bit, and you're back to the first bit, and it does leave a sour taste in your mouth.
Yes. All right. So, not that was enough. Let's get to it. Because that was what I should have erased it. Was it like 9 a.m., 11:30? What time was this sprint?
Sometime.
Like I erased our little board and I put our order of the podcast because we always screwed up. Yeah, because it was 9. Because at 10, and then I went and, hey, go get vaccinated, kids. Get your annual flu and COVID shots. My arm still hurts, and it was 2 days ago. That's not a discouragement. Go get it. Because I went and got my shot and then got back and waited for 2 hours and 8 different delays because of the rain. Just did not have any running for quali on Saturday. Literally had the team viewer up. Shout out the team viewer. That is really just the gold standard of how you should watch F1.
Pretty sure that Crofty has it up.
Pretty sure it's what every team on the paddock uses, basically. It's like it's multi-viewer and it's windy.com.
Yep.
But yeah, so kept popping up of, oh, hey, we'll have an update at 18:25, 18:15, 18:20. That's probably not the actual time. It's probably like 15. The time for this race got so fucked up, especially with daylight savings time and tornado warnings, and we'll get to all that. Just, ugh. So just like every 15 minutes, it was like, here's another update. It's like, okay, it's an estimated going to start here. Okay, we're going to estimate it's going to start here. Okay, it's estimate we're going to start another 30 minutes from now. That was annoying for me because I was like I was doing stuff. I was working on a graphic design project, and like, it's like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm waiting for feedback, the client to get back to me on the feedback. And we're like, oh, I'm not going to get immersed into a game. I'm going to play something quick, or I'll watch this video real fast. It's like, just constantly be like, okay, I can't watch this. Go and catch up on the show. These hour long NCIS shows because I'm a 80-year-old man and watch NCIS. I was like, well, it's an hour, and if we start in 15 minutes, I really want to stop and lose interest and get engaged and everything. But yep, so again, 8 official delays of estimated starts that probably didn't show up on mic when I said the word delay there. And yeah, about 2 hours finally postponed, and it took them another 3-4 hours after that before we even got the time. So this is where we get into some of the nitty gritty personally here. We were up fairly late on that would have been Saturday.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, I was like, I worked till like 9 o'clock at night. I came home, honestly wasn't feeling great, so I was like, I'm teetering between going to bed or whatever. I finally conk out at like 11:30, something like that. Already knowing that the sprint is going to be at 4:30, or the quali is going to be at 4:30, so I have an alarm set for that, and so I'm prepared for that. All throughout this, I'm like, twice I woke up, was feeling awful, and went back to sleep, and then...
Yeah. So it was and I want to get into the time change thing, because here, I don't think they did it down in South America, where this was. So it was really just a North America thing of, we had fallback daylight savings time ending Sunday at 2 o'clock. So Sunday, 2 a.m., pop, clock goes back to 1 a.m. So it's always like, okay, it's 5:30, but because the entire weekend so far, it's been Sao Paulo has been 3 hours ahead. I keep saying Sao Paulo. Except for today when it was only 2. Or it was 4. Whichever way it went. And then they changed the time of the actual GP2 to try to not GP2, not the engine, to try to avoid some of the rain. That didn't fucking work. So it was all fucked up. Now, back to what? 1
Yeah, 1 a.m.
About to 1:15/2:15, but really 1:15 now.
Loud piercing fucking siren-y noise coming from my phone. Well, I knew there was supposed to be some rain, maybe some storms coming through, so I should probably look and see what this is. Oh, there's a fucking tornado warning. Well, time to wake up.
Yep. I'm also asleep. I think my watch goes off the same time. I think my mom calls me. It's like, do you see that? I'm like, what? Oh, shit. Okay. So, get up. I was like, peek behind the curtain. Me and Blake live together. So, Blake's already up. Not that I was like, it sounds like you didn't wake me up. Like, we were all awake at this,
Yeah.
like, it was when it wasn't needed. Like, everybody was up. And there's cats, I'm sure you've, heard in the background knocking shit over. Cats and dogs. So, it's like, all right, let's get all that shit together. Get them in carriers. Okay, you're being a little shit. You give them this carrier now. Just exhausting. And it's like, it cycles a couple times. And then if you live in the tornado alley like we do, you know that a storm will just keep back cycling and keep basically hitting the same area or can jump and go everywhere. So that's like a 2-hour thing. It's like, are we finally clear? Cool. All right. Fucking get knocked back out. Yeah. I'm so exhausted.
I straight up opted to skip out on quali after that. Like, I already exhausted. I still felt like shit. I woke up like 15 minutes before my alarm was supposed to go off, and I dismissed it and went back to sleep. And then I continued to wake up like every hour.
Oh, yeah. I had that a couple times. It's like, I got time to go back to sleep. I got time to go back to sleep. I did wake up for it. I was the only one awake. And I figured, because I knew, obviously you weren't feeling well, so I'm like, I'm not going to go wake her up. If she wanted to be up, she would be up.
Exactly.
So, that being said, you missed a 2-hour qualifying session.
I would rather die.
Yeah, no, it was brutal. Still a very wet quali, but they didn't. At least by the time broadcast was up, they didn't do a whole lot, like show a whole lot of attempts to clear. Like obviously on Saturday they were running road cars and medical and any car they could have on the track just to try to get water going. Didn't seem like they had a whole lot. I mean, obviously the safety car was doing laps, medical car, all that kind of stuff. Still very wet. So Q1, everybody's on full wets. And it went about as well as you expect a full wet session to go. We're gonna play a game of count the red flags as we go through these 3 qualies. Like I said, and still just some other stuff. Q1 was probably our least eventful. Couple spins, Lance twice. I think we're under the impression we're gonna give Lance a break this week. I think he's had a pretty rough week.
Yeah.
But Lance spins out twice. Joe's got to spin. Liam's got to spin. Near miss with Carlos and George. And then 8:50 left. Ladies and gentlemen, red flag number 1. Golo Pinto, the de facto other hometown boy. He into a wall. I thought I put the turn on there. I guess I didn't. That brings out the first red flag. 8:50. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time. About 10 minutes. Everybody gets back out. But there's car number 1 that's got to be pretty worked on.
Yeah. It was
and as well as
rough.
red flag number 1. Q1, you're out. Couple of surprising ones. Well, maybe it's not. Hulkenberg, I'll count as a surprising one from now on because he usually at least gets out. He usually gets Q3.
Yeah.
He's won. Lewis, again, usually does well here, but the way he's been at war with the car, as he likes to put it, or at war with the machine or whatever, as he put in Hot Ones or whatever. He is out. Ali, out. Colapinto, obviously out. And Joe Guan Yu. Again,
No surprise.
no surprises there. Sorry, Joe.
Although we say that, and his teammate, who is lower in the standings than him, made it through.
Sure did. To a more eventful Q2. Carlos, pulling a Carlos again. God, everything's so running together now. Of like, there's been so many incidents, like crashes and spins and stuff. It's all running together. 5:15 left in the session. We get red flag number 2. Carlos Sainz into the wall. There's the second car we got to replace. This is Chekhov gunning for some stuff later. Trust me. And then, hey, you guys like more controversy with red flags and safety cars? 40 seconds left in the session. Mr. We're going to give you a break, Lance Stroll. Into the wall. Here's the weird thing. Driver goes into a wall. Wet conditions. Double waved yellows? Sure, whatever. We've red flagged it with Carlos. We've red flagged it with Colapinto. Let's let the McLarens and a couple other Charles. Let's go and let them finish out their laps. But Checo and Max, they just started laps, not them. Another delayed red flag. Guys,
you're not beating the British bias allegations.
And Crofty, and I gained so much respect for Ted Kravitz in this. Because Ted was like, this doesn't make sense. You're picking and choosing. And Karun and Crofty are like, well, it's trying to be fair. I'm like, and it was unfair to Max. I was like, you're picking and choosing who it's fair to. That's not how fairness works.
Yeah, no.
You're literally choosing, oh, hey, these guys are good. You can't make that choice. We're racing. So, again, there's going back to my thing of, okay, if it's not about the racing, it's make the spectacle. So, again, guys, red flag number 4, by the way. Or sorry, that was red flag number 3, and also the third car that's going to have to be rebuilt today. This is, I just have, what bullshittery and fuckery is this? But your out is Valtteri Bottas, Verstappen and Perez, who got caught out, Carlos Sainz, who is obviously in a fucking wall, and Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly was out in Q2. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Cha-ching. So let's go to Q3 with 6:59. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got red flag number 4. Fernando Alonso into the barriers. Red flag was called instantaneously, by the way, on this one. This is where I start keeping track. Yep. He looked hurt. He looked like he definitely got out super gingerly, and maybe he was already, we find out in the GP, really having back issues from the bouncing, so I'm sure this didn't help. So he gets out. Carlos did not. Sainz did trigger the medical car. This one triggers the medical car. I think actually Fernando requested the medical car. Yeah, and then after that, little moments between Oscar and Yuki. Just, a little bit of squirreliness. It's a wet fucking track. Oh, at this point, there are enters on here. And then I don't have the time, but here you go. Sorry. Alex with the biggest crash of the weekend, probably.
Pain.
Brings out red flag number 5. Hey, it only took him about 4 to 5 seconds to get the red flag out for this one. Alex looked hurt. Alex looks like he broke his wrist or something. He did what he shouldn't have and held on to the
wheel, yeah.
steering wheel. But yeah, this was a bad one. It looked like I've never seen so much shrapnel in the tire. But there's your red flag number 5. There's your 5th car that needed to get rebuilt, and I said that separately, or said it slightly differently that time. Again, foreshadowing. So here we are, 2 hours later. Your top 10. Are you ready for this? I mean, you already know it.
Oh, I know.
They already know it. But Lando, okay. George, okay. Yuki Tsunoda. Let's fucking go.
Glad for you.
Yuki Tsunoda to be 3. Well, don't worry, because your boy Alex still got P7. Esteban Ocon got P4. Liam Lawson P5. Charles P6. Again, Alex P7. Oscar P8. Alonso 9. And Lance P10.
Yeah, Alex sure did get P7.
Crazy grid. Crazy grid. Crazy weekend.
And we're not even in the race yet.
We're not even to the race. I just switched to the second page.
Wow, what a GP weekend. Captain, that was only qualifying.
We legitimately were like, we're going to split this up into 2 episodes where we had like a shorter free practice sprint and then just Super Sunday. But we're finally here. We finally made it to the race. It's still wet. It's still wet.
It's pissing down.
Yep. Or spitting down, as they all like to say. George goes with the spitting. Oh, a little spot of spitting.
Oh, spitting down.
Or
It's
sweat.
pissing down.
One thing I didn't notice till I was actually double checking the documents at the end was during the reconnaissance laps, Yuki got a €100 fine, or the team did, for speeding in the pit lane.
Yep.
Did you see how fast he went?
80.2 kilometers an hour.
0.2 kilometers
Yep.
an hour.
They will pop you for 0.1 because it's a safety issue.
Yep. So I was like, I'm glad. Thank God it didn't. It was only €100.
Thank God he only did it once.
Yeah.
He did it twice.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that part in the document.
I was going through all the documents on the Mastodon server, and I was like, oh, it's like Yuki Tsunoda speeding in pit lane second. I was like, what?
Oof.
Oof. €200. No.
And then, so some more pre-race stuff to continue your pain. Alex, of all the 5 cars they had to rebuild, unfortunately, Alex was just a little too much in the very short time to actually get this. It was incredible that they got this many cars even working.
Yeah.
Alex was damaged too far, so Alex is not running in this race.
It was a pretty big fucking crash. The car was fucked.
Yes. And then Carlos, from his race, as you mentioned, taking basically a new car,
Yeah.
his pit lane start. We just get right into it.
We're getting into the formation lap?
Formation lap.
All right.
You want to take this one?
We're on the formation lap because that's what we do at the Grand Prix. Everyone who's on the grid, so notably not Carlos. Carlos has to stay in the pit lane because pit lane start. Usually they'll stay in the garage until like all the cars are forming up, and then they'll go to the line because you want to keep it as temped correctly as possible. Formation lap sets the grid, gets them around the track. Turn 4. The race hasn't even begun yet. And our favorite daddy's boy, Lance Stroll, bends it before we even get going.
Man.
Put together all that work, man. All of that work to get you back into this race. And you didn't even make it to the grid.
You didn't even make it, you barely made it to Sector 2.
I don't think he made it to Sector 2. I think Turn 4 is Sector 1.
Oh, God.
I can probably pull the track back up real quick. But I'm pretty sure that Turn 4 is Sector 1.
I was just thinking because I noted that.
Oh, no, you are correct. Just barely made
like
it into Sector 2.
Because, basically the entire pit lane is all but one microsector of... Or the pit exit is all but one microsector of the first one. Yeah.
Insane.
Way to go.
So...
Aborted start.
Aborted start.
Not the first time we had it this year.
No, it's not.
Had some photographers. What was that? Spa?
It's a good question.
Can't remember.
Been too long.
Yeah.
It's 24 race season.
So many races. Don't see with Steve. We'll license it if we need to. So, aborted lap. Everybody basically, you go around again, and this.
No, you don't.
True.
You stay in place
Until you're told to do a second formation lap.
until you're told to do the second formation lap, which
See,
apparently
I was just role playing as Lando Norris and George Russell.
a couple of drivers who don't understand how the aborted start. They're just like, I wasn't here I wasn't here the last time we did the aborted start. I wasn't in the lead. I don't remember what happened. So I just fucking went for it. And then George Russell also goes for it. And then Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson
Yep, the RB boys.
also follow suit. Everyone else just sitting there. And we're sitting there thinking,
The light.
what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And then we notice that the lights are not out, and away we do not go because the lights are not out.
For a split second, I thought that all of those cars, like, their engines died on them. I was like, oh, okay, well, they can just get them going again. It's still technically formation lap. They can work their way back around to their grid spot, etc. And then they started talking about it. Like, Max came across the radio and was like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing here. And GP was like, yeah, no, you were right. You were in the right. So they were in the wrong. But they did eventually tell them, hey, go ahead and do your formation lap and then grid up.
It's basically a half kind of secondary formation. So we lose 2 laps to a good old nice 69. So that alters your running a little bit. We never were able to tell if Carlos ran either of those though.
I don't think that
He wasn't supposed to win he wasn't supposed to run the first one. But in the previous one with the photographers in the wrong spot and for safety, I want to say that was Spall or Zandvoort, one of those two.
One of the two.
Alex was starting from the pit, and he had to go take a lap because of fuel. Swear to God, I never saw Carlos do a lap, so he might have been on overfuel the entire race. Which I guess isn't too big a deal when you're literally running intermediates the entire fucking race. Another thing that happens there, let's go ahead and talk about what happened. That way we just keep it, because there's so many kind of little penalties like this, I figure we just keep it chronological.
Fair enough.
So Lando and George were kind of the ringleaders, to lack of a better term here. So they get a reprimand and a €5,000 fine. Like, it was very confusing, because it was very fucking confusing.
It was indeed
Don't
very confusing.
fucking do that again. And then to Liam and Yuki, they're like, you were under the impression, that's fine. No further action. A surprise. We were definitely thinking they were all going to get the same thing. We were all thinking maybe DSQs on that.
It would be a shame if there were a DSQ in this race.
Yep. So, all that, sitting there, on the grid. Hey, what's that Merc doing? Or what are both the Mercs doing? Is that a tire gauge they're using out there? Both Mercedes of George and Lewis altered the tire pressure during the in the space between the formation laps. This is a controlled spec and should not have happened and is very illegal. Very illegal. But chaos is chaos, and they kind of just get away. Both of them get a $5,000 fine for the team. No harm done, really, but...
Yeah, no real harm for the British team.
Yeah, with the 2 British drivers. Good point. Didn't even think about that.
Technically, I think it's
As like
is it British? Right?
It's headquartered in British, but it does race under the German flag. So.
Yeah, okay.
But everybody's based in Britain. Alpine, Red Bull.
Like half the teams.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah. So, just a whole ass chaos that's at the start to cap, not even to cap, but just to continue. Just one of the wackiest fucking weekends in F1 that we've, I think, witnessed for sure.
I was full ready for it to be a Spa situation from a couple years back. Just nope, we're done. Y'all all park it up. We're done.
Not even to mention something of like, okay, well, if they can't qualify, we got to go from the sprint qualifications, or no, we got to do the FP1 classification, which is super crazy, and like all this stuff, like just unprecedented is probably the word of the weekend.
Yeah.
But finally, it's lights out.
No, wait, we get.
Well, I was going to say it because I don't know how copyrighted that is.
Well,
but-
that's fine. You said lights out.
And
said
then you
the
just
other part.
happened to say away we go. Yeah. Two completely separate thoughts. But we're racing. Finally. It's been 84 years. And then we just get some shenanigans. First thing I got is our favorite Ollie Behrman. Again, 10-second penalty for causing a collision, and I put this one in quotations, with Franco Colapinto. This one was maybe a little harsh. The broadcasters don't think so. Then again, Ollie Behrman is British, so that's why maybe the broadcasters thought so. He did cause a collision. He hit him. He touched the butt. He
They
literally
touched Martin.
Yeah. Martin was not here this week, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you feel. Didn't cause Colapinto time. Definitely hurt Ollie more, but the penalty is causing a collision.
Not cause. Yeah, he literally came across the radio. He was like, "Why? He didn't lose any time." It's like, it doesn't matter, Ollie. You hit him.
The next round of storms is on the way. Just an FYI.
It's a very nice.
Also, this Maple Leafs game is about to go in overtime. Do you think we're finished this podcast in 27 seconds? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Because we're still like 2 laps in. But yeah, so
Also, had a quick note that you sort of glossed over. Lap 1, Checo spun out.
oh, there was honestly I probably didn't even notice it because there were so many moments everybody had. This honestly, as much as I don't know if it was an entertaining race, maybe, but just because chaos, like I don't know if this race should have ran.
Yeah.
To be honest, as I said, we had multi-million dollars of damages just gone, like millions of dollars gone. Now it's not my money, so I don't give a shit. But come on. Next thing is my handwriting is awful. Colapinto leaving and gaining an advantage. Nothing on there.
No further investigation.
And it was Ollie, it was Colo, and it was Oscar and Lawson. These were the 4 troublemakers. After that, I did not put laps on this, so if you do, please definitely take it from me. Oscar gets a 10-second penalty also for causing a collision. This one I did not put in quotes because it was kind of, with Liam.
I did not put the lap on that, but I have that after a couple of other things.
Yeah, go for it.
Because something else happened first. One of our favorite, like, currently on the grid German driver, goes off. Turn 1 on lap, 27, 28, somewhere in there. One of the two. I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep track sometimes because they'll put the lap on there of what lap they were on, and then the race will be on a different lap. So it's a little confusing sometimes. It was like lap 27, 28.
It is 27. I do have this. It's just after that one for some reason. So
Gotcha. So Nico goes off, probably because of the result from it. Nico goes off, turn 1. VSC deployed. He's a little beached.
very quick this time again.
Pretty quick. He's beached. Like, I can tell from the thing, he's sitting at sort of a wonk angle. Like, I'm pretty sure it's his back, which I think that's what they said in the radio message as well, because I had specifically listened to that. And his engineer was like, I think we're beached. I think the back wheels are not touching the ground. And Nico comes across, you gotta be fucking shitting me. And I was like, that's peak Nico Hulkenberg. I love that. So some pit stop shenanigans ensue. And it means that your top 3 is Esteban Ocon, Max Verstappen, and Pierre Gasly. What a top 3. And it's the middle of the race, sure. Like, it's not even the middle yet. We're like a third of the way through this race.
As we said at the top of the show, what the fuck is going on? Or
What's
what the fuck
going
is
on
this?
here? But yeah. And it's at about this point, / the time penalty for Piastri, where the Merc under investigation pops for adjusting tire pressures between the formation laps, which again, highly illegal, but it was within the limits. It's fine. Fine for you.
Which I did say, which we did go over, is like they explicitly put in the document like this is not the precedent. If you think you can get away with this, you're gonna find out if you fuck around. So, not precedent setting on that. Should we talk about Nico?
Well, I think a slight event happens first, and then we get to the Nico situation. Did they get to a full course safety car for that one, for the Nico going off, or did they just do the virtual?
It was just the virtual.
Okay, because I put under safety car that Franco bend it on lap 33. Like,
it is the safety car due to conditions, but not to.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So they had the virtual safety car, and then they safety carred it for the conditions, and then Franco bend it under the safety car, which brings out a red flag. That
was on lap 32. Lap 30 was a safety car for conditions. Yep.
There are more red flags here than... We're not going to get political. Never mind. Go vote.
Yes. Unless you're not registered, then it's illegal. But go get registered for the next one.
Some states still let you register same day. So
true. Yeah, you can fill out provisional ballots.
Yeah.
So
check your state's laws. And if you can vote, go vote.
Yes, please.
Anyways, red flag.
Yep. And yet another Williams, and just the shot of a very defeated Williams mechanics crew. Just...
I feel like I was on screen for a second, just rubbing my temples. Just
yeah. Just like, oh, we worked so hard.
All of this fucking work. All of the parts that we didn't have. Hey, the Maple Leafs lofts.
God damn it. They made it overtime. It's a point. It's a back-to-back. You know the Maple Leafs have 16 back-to-backs this season, more than any other fucking team? Anyway.
Anyways.
But yeah, the league likes Toronto and favors Toronto. That's why they haven't won a cup since 1967.
F1 podcast, not a hockey podcast.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's
talk about Nico.
So
all this is happening. Cars go in. And of course they're like, it's raining, so it's like cars go in. Another pretty bad wreck. Like, it looked very similar to Alex's wreck from quali. So definitely a course. Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was time. Something was funny. I noticed the timeline. We'll talk about the little blip thing too. Anyway, so, and this is on the international broadcast too. So it pops up, and this is actually funny too. Is you ran to the bathroom real quick under the red flag?
Yeah.
Just little bleep, blop, black flag for Nico Hülkenberg. Apparently, allegedly.
Not allegedly. We saw it happen.
I don't think I actually saw the.
I don't think we saw it on
happen,
TV, but I think then they showed it afterwards? ?
Yeah. So, like I said, on this lap 27, before the safety car and before the red flag for thing, Nico was beached, and then he managed to get going again. Apparently, he he had outside assistance. I don't know what. Again, I didn't see what happened. I never saw it on broadcast. I guess we probably should have looked at it.
Marshals, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know if they pushed or just happened to touch it real fast, or I mean, obviously he was beached, so they had to intervene. So, and then on the broadcast, they're talking to Ted in the pit lane, and he's literally staring at the pit wall, and it's red flag. Nobody has their headphones on. His engineer puts his headphones on. He says the look on his face just goes bad. Komatsu doesn't have his on yet. Nico's just sitting there, like, smile on his face, happy. And I guess he's got to go. And Crofty and Sharoon are being dicks and be like, Ted, go tell him. Ted, go tell him. Like, no, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Go let them
This
know.
is their job. Like, this is definitely a team or an FIA official needs to do this. Like, not, fuck yourself. And then apparently he just was his face just drained. Because that's a DSQ. Hey, that's our name.
DSQ!
For Nico Hülkenberg.
Which, despite us already having two drivers who didn't make it to the grid, and having... Have we already lost anyone yet? Yes, we lost Franco at this point. So we have one driver who's DNF'd, two drivers who did not make it to the grid. He still goes to the back of the pack.
Yep. DSQ. Which is funny, too, because I don't know if we're going to go over this later or not. We'll do it now. Alex, even though Alex did not even be in a car during any point during the actual race, was still classified ahead of
Lance
Stroll because of the previous order.
So basically the reasoning, they didn't race at all. There had been no racing yet. All of it was the formation lap. Until they begin racing, those positions don't move. So with Lance also not making it to the starting grid, he has the lesser position of the two, and therefore is worse off.
He's having a bad week.
He's really having a bad week. Hey, Lawrence, let's have a real talk for a second. Maybe F1's just not for Lance. Like, you want a racing son? Put him in endurance. Maybe endurance is what he'll just full send. Just try something else.
He likes going off track. Put him in rally.
Yeah, put him in rally. Heck yeah.
You get someone else to watch after him and tell him where to go. It's perfect.
Imagine being the job of
hard right, Lance.
The job of being official Lance Stroll babysitter.
I'm Fernando Alonso. Alright. So, more shenanigans. We have a rolling start. Who's in the lead again during all this?
Esteban Ocon.
Who probably does not have a lot of experience with rolling starts or VSC or SC starts.
Yeah.
Who's in P2?
Max Verstappen.
He did okay.
He did all right.
He held him off for a couple corners.
No. This first one, Esteban kept him going. This was the first one. This was the first one where,
Oh, you're right.
yeah. It's like, he held him off and kept him held off through that entire stint.
Gotcha. Well, we did have a couple of some more things, and a lot of this being Ollie being new, I believe. Ollie and Joe on this SC restart, or the rolling restart, they go off just at the back. They just go off, and then Ollie spins on lap 36 and 38. Now we get to, ladies and gentlemen, another red flag. Actually, no. Sorry, it's just safety car.
Yep, safety car.
Bert's making up for all the laps he missed during the drought.
During the drought.
Yeah. Yet another car that worked hard to get rebuilt and took a lot of new car pieces. Let's go ahead and pew that gun. Carlos Sainz
Turn 8.
into the wall. Lap 40. You said turn 8?
Yep, turn 8. I had it as 39, but again, a lot of that's confusing, so.
Man, these poor mechanics. We'll get to all that.
Ferrari's already got it bad enough most of the time.
Yep. Especially coming back off back-to-back 1-2s, basically. And not basically, exactly, not counting the sprint, but
Nobody counts that.
Yeah. Not a good weekend. Just a chaotic weekend. Just a chaotic weekend. That's all we can say. That being said, another possible infringement. You explained this one, so I'll because I wasn't entirely sure. So
Which one was this one?
this was the dangerous driving for Carlos Sainz.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so there was a penalty that popped up for Carlos Sainz, and we didn't know what it was. It was
Literally said infringement Carlos Sainz.
Infringement Carlos Sainz.
Nothing.
Something of that nature, yeah. No description to it. We eventually find out after the fact via the decision documents that it was due to quote-unquote dangerous driving because he disconnected, after crashing out basically, he disconnected the wheel, and that to the marshals was like, okay, he's done, he's getting out of the car. Meanwhile, Ferrari comes over the phone to Carlos. Hey, car still looks good, so like, if you want to restart it, that's fine. At this time, the marshals are currently looping the little wire, whatever, the rope, through the roll hoop or through the fucking halo or whatever to get it to where it'll be gotten by the recovery vehicle. Carlos starts putting his steering wheel back into its spot. The marshals go, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck," and try to scramble out of the way. So yeah, dangerous driving for moving the car while the marshals were attempting to recover the vehicle.
Yeah, very dangerous. Surprisingly, not just got a reprimand and a fine.
Which seems to be the
Yeah.
moral of the story, unless your name rhymes with Bax Burbappin.
Arguably, should have been DSQ.
Yeah,
given
definitely.
just precedent just from this race. But doesn't matter. He's out. Now we get to the restart. Once again, Esty Bestie, Max Verstappen, and Pierre Gasly are your 1, 2, 3. As said earlier, incorrectly, but now. He did good for a couple corners. But it is Max Verstappen.
I thought a humorous note whenever Max overtook Esteban. So they cut to the Red Bull garage. And you see the entire Red Bull team celebrating in the garage. And then you see the scrutineer, the FIA scrutineer, go, "Yes, yes."
Yep.
And I'm just like, "Hey,
Stop.
You straight up were like, hey.
Listen, we don't need that static right now.
They're not beating the allegations.
And so after that overtake, that was kind of it. We'll get to that in a second. Couple little things. Charles, noted for an unsafe rejoin. No further action on that. However, there were 2 other incidents that they never even looked at.
Yeah.
One with Sainz, and I don't remember who was about to hit. And then one for Lando almost taking out George, which is...
I feel like Sainz might have been Ollie, because I distinctly remember Ollie having someone come back at him, and I don't remember if that was...
Position-wide, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about 17 laps real quick. The last 17 laps or so. Fastest lap. There's been a lot of talk here recently about fastest lap. Max took that personally. He set, and correct me if this number's wrong, 17 fastest laps in this race.
Somewhere in there. It's like 15 to 17 laps.
Yeah. And he was just out there having fun. He was driving away like, spoiler for a almost 15-year-old show. At the end of Breaking Bad, Jesse's just fucking going. He's just going.
I think what's insane, right? Max Verstappen started P17. He won this race, I think, by 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this was as much as conversation during the GP. Hate the term masterclass, overused at this point. But as you pointed out, the Maxter class.
This is a Maxter class.
Yeah, Max. Oh, sorry. One other note. Checo and Lawson up to their shenanigans again. Collier Racing incident, whatever. Max goes on his tear, and for 10 races, we have finally once again heard the Dutch national anthem, the Austrian national anthem. Max Verstappen wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Followed up by Alpine 2-3.
If you at the beginning of this year, after the first couple of races, even probably before that, because they were talking about the car being kind of bad to begin with, if you at the start of this season told me that there was going to be at least a race in this season where Alpine finished on the podium, both of them, I would have thought that you were actually clinically insane.
Yeah, and leading the race for a decent amount of time too.
Oh my God, Esteban Ocon almost won this race. Arguably, if it had not been for that safety car, I think he might have won this race. Because Max had pretty much resigned himself to, I'm just going to end up finishing P2.
Yep. So let's get into this. I think we're debating on the order and stuff, but let's do driver of the day and stars.
Driver of the day, awards, and stars. Driver of the day, I voted for Esteban Ocon because, wow.
Yep. I voted for Max Verstappen because he made up how many places? 16?
16 places, which is very impressive. Don't get me wrong.
That's so many places.
That's so many places.
It's a record.
It is.
Well, it's not a record for places, but it is a record for 10. He has officially won from 10 separate starting positions. Has not, by the way, P5 is the gap. He has not won from P5. So he's got a goal for Vegas, I guess, to make it interesting.
Yep, there you go. Indeed, Max Verstappen was your driver of the day by a hefty margin. He won that vote with 39.6% of the vote. Esteban Ocon had 11.1%. Franco Colapinto had 6.7%, which this was after he had crashed out, which is insane, but, you know. Pierre Gasly with...
That's this race, man.
Yeah. Pierre Gasly with 5.5% of the vote, which, fair enough, he also made up 10 spots. We'll get to that.
Yep.
Lando Norris with 5.1%, which,
Okay.
All right, Team LN, show your colors. And all others receiving 32%. So Max did indeed get more percent of the vote than everybody else than the top 5 combined. Yeah. Fastest lap, obviously. Max Verstappen, lap 67, a 120.472.
Also lap 66 and 65 and 63 and 60.
It was insane.
It was ridiculous.
The fastest pit stop went to Sauber.
I was like, there weren't that many actual pit stops.
There weren't.
So,
Which is wild. But
this is all done
Sauber,
under VSEs or red flags, and you basically were on the wet tires. So,
unfortunately, it's not the true surprising one. It's Zhou. Zhou got the fastest pit change time. It's 2.5 seconds, 2.52 seconds. It's not fast, but it's not slow. That was on lap 27. The slowest pit stop that I'm counting goes to Haas for Nico Hülkenberg with another fantastic bit of radio that I will share in a second. But it was a 6.19 on lap 29.
it's almost nice.
Almost nice. There were 2 slower ones. Both of them were Haas, but Behrman's was because of his penalty that he had to serve, and Hülkenberg was because they had to fix something in the car after he beached it. Like, they were, like, bent over into the fucking cockpit, like, fiddling with something. I don't know if maybe a seatbelt came loose or something, or maybe he undid it because he thought he was going to be out. Something like that. But yeah, no. On the 6.19 second one, they tell him to box, and he's like, why? And they don't give him an answer until he gets pretty much almost to the box. And they're like, his engineer goes, we are putting on a set of inters for some reason. It's like, why?
Yeah, so some of those inter calls were like, we thought Charles was cooked at one point. They went to New from Old to New. That was right when the race, or they thought, like, you know, the whole level 2, class 3 rain jargon bullshit. But it turned out to work, I guess. Yeah, strategy was insane.
Yeah.
Thank God both of our favorite TV strategists of Bernie Collins on Sky and Ruth Buscombe Davey on F1 TV.
There you go.
I was going to call it the international feed, but no, that's not it. But yeah. Crazy.
Insane. On to stars. Yeah, I think you said you had a honorable mention.
I do, and it is for Oscar.
That's fair.
Because he was clearly kind of the better driver this weekend, and he played the team game, both letting Lando through in both races. I guess I didn't even copy that down, but yes. Team orders again, and he lets Norris through again. You mean the GP? Yeah. Oscar for reluctantly or not playing the team game, despite being the actual better driver this weekend.
I feel like it's some hot bullshit.
Yep. But the third star, I almost gave them both third star. I'm like, no, I'll give an honorable mention. Was Alpine, the drivers. Because, come on. Esteban holding on to a podium finish the entire race. And Pierre Gasly making up 10 places. Like, again, unheard of. You crazy.
Crazy?
No.
That was crazy once.
Yeah, Alpine's your third star. Because, oh my God. Let's just,
God.
yeah. Unheard of.
My third star went to the mechanics for Ferrari, Williams, and Aston Martin. And I left myself a little present of ad lib good luck. So I'm just going to talk about it for a second. They put in so much work to get those cars back onto the track. And a lot of times, especially when your driver is Lance Stroll and unfortunately Franco Colapinto, doesn't work out. Also, Carlos Sainz. I forgot about him because he sort of crashed out as well a little bit. Yeah, they put in a lot of work this weekend. It was very stressful. Some of them probably didn't sleep that well. I know I didn't. They probably missed out on a meal or two just to get those cars back into running order. And for some of them to it not even fucking matter.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, good job. Good, fantastic work for all of y'all.
We'll get to that. Spoiler. My second star is Max Verstappen. He made up 16 fucking places and won by 20 seconds. That was we made the joke at one point of like, hey, he can fuck around and get a 10-second penalty and be fine still.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm Max Verstappen, and we do these stars with the sprint. Started fourth, finished fourth, held as maintained. Sprint was pretty run of the mill. So, your only swap was literally the team order swap.
Yeah, that was
That
in the top
mattered.
like 7, and then Checo gained like 5 places.
Yeah. Checo, yeah, that should have been honorable mention, I guess. But Checo didn't do that well in the actual GP, so it's kind of...
Yeah.
That's all over the place. But yeah, welcome back, Max. Welcome back, Dutch National Anthem. Welcome back, Five Nights at Freddy's theme, even though that was there the whole time.
My second star was also Max Verstappen. He has to make an appearance on my stars, even if this era of Max dominance is boring fans. It's me. I'm fans. He held his place solid in the sprint, but the race is where he shined. Starting P17, used some fucky red flag shenanigans, and an engine penalty, and gained 16 spots to bring home P1. Simply lovely.
That is trademarked now as well.
Is it trademark?
For a clothing brand, I think.
Ow. I don't think we're going to be confused with a clothing brand.
Fair enough. Our DSQ line launches on store.dsq.com. My number one star is the mechanics, marshals, and fans at Interlagos. Because the mechanics just had to do so much. The marshals just had to do so fucking much. And the fans had to go through a super long quali, sitting there for 2 hours in the rain, just to not have the running happen. And I don't even know how they handled that, because it's like, you paid for your Saturday ticket, which includes quali, people that pay for the Sunday ticket, and with all the time, time changes, like, I'm sure all the fans were just, they're the ones in attendance, watching too. I guess it's kind of giving myself a star for putting up with it. Me. I'm the number one star.
Me. I did good.
Yeah, especially, mechanic, marshals, crane operators.
Oh, that's the driver of the day right there.
Yeah.
Crane operator.
Truly. Yeah, you guys had to do a lot this weekend. Good thing there's a 2-week break, because you guys need the well-deserved rest.
Yeah.
Please have an extra hour of sleep on us.
Oh, yeah, you sort of get that. My number one star, and I was thinking we probably switched, essentially, and yes, we did switch. My number one star was Alpine. Call it luck or whatever else you want to. Alpine pulled off an amazing race on Sunday and an impressive sprint on Saturday, with Pierre gaining 10 spots on Sunday to round out the podium, plus pipping an additional 2 points in the sprint, and Esteban at one point handily leading the race from Max Verstappen and gaining 3 spots in the sprint. Alpine had it going on this weekend and gained 3 spots in the Constructors' Championship.
About a difference of potentially $50
$50
million.
million payday. God, take a shot every time you hear 50 million payday from those guys.
Yep.
Big grief.
Oh.
Yeah. It's the stars.
Yep, that's it. All right. It's time for the rundown.
The rundown. We have 2 rundowns this week because, again, sprint and regular race. So it goes on for even longer. We're 2 hours in at this point. We're probably not, but we're kind of close, probably. Hour and a half.
Probably about an hour, 10 minutes, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm back quicker than I thought.
I think if we don't set the timer, we actually do it faster.
That's hilarious. All right, so your race rundown for your Sao Paulo sprint. Lando Norris finished P1, gaining 1 spot after a team order switcheroo with Oscar Piastri, who loses a spot, finishing P2. The rest of your top 7 stay the same, with Charles finishing P3, Max finishing P4, Carlos in P5, George in P6, and Pierre Gasly in P7. Sergio Perez rounds out the top 8 and points-paying positions for the sprint, gaining 5 spots to finish P8. Liam Lawson finishes P9, just out of reach, losing his 1 spot. And Alex Albon rounds out the top 10, losing 1 spot. For the rest of the grid, it is Lewis Hamilton staying right where he was in P11, Franco Colapinto gaining 2 spots to finish P12, Esteban Ocon gaining 3 spots to finish P13, Ollie Behrman losing 4 spots to finish P14, Yuki Tsunoda gaining 2 spots to finish P15, Valtteri Bottas losing a spot to finish P16, Zhou Guanyu finishing P17 after gaining 3 spots after an amazing start, which I forgot to talk about, but apparently he bolted out of the pit lane almost immediately overtook. Just from what I read. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Don't let me be a liar. P18
Quoter.
Don't do that. P18 was Fernando Alonso, who stayed right where he was. Lance Stroll finished P19, staying right where he was. And Nico Hülkenberg, with the DNF, loses 8 spots to technically finish P20. For your Sao Paulo race, Max Verstappen both gains the fastest lap and gains 16 places to finish P1. Insane. Esteban Ocon also gaining 2 spots to finish P2, which already an amazing starting spot for him in P4, but, beside the point. P3, Pierre Gasly gaining 10 spots. That, I really feel like that's almost deserving of its own star, but you know what? I pipped it as Alpine, so we're going to keep it as Alpine. P4.
To be honest, I only grouped it together because I was going to give it just to Pierre.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess Ocon did hold off Max and maintain the position. So,
job.
But yeah, 10 spots is, in my opinion, definitely more of an achievement.
Yeah. George Russell finishes P4 and loses 2 spots to finish there. Charles Leclerc gains a spot to finish P5. Lando Norris loses 5 places to finish P6. Yuki Tsunoda finishes P7 after losing 4 positions. Oscar Piastri stays right where he is in P8, which I feel like I've said that a few times this year. Liam Lawson loses 4 positions to finish P9, and Lewis Hamilton rounds out your top 10, gaining 4 positions. Sergio Perez finished P11, gaining 1 spot. Ollie Behrman gained 3 spots to finish P12. Valtteri Bottas still can't get a point to save his life, but you know what? It's all right.
Shout out to our neighbor's truck.
Valtteri Bottas finishing P13 after losing 2 places. Fernando Alonso loses 5 places to finish P14, really struggling at the end. I don't think we mentioned that, but he was struggling to finish that race and said, hey, I'm going to finish this race for the mechanics.
I was going to tie that into my first star and forgot.
Fair enough. All good, though.
That's why I take better notes.
Huge back pain. And Zhou Guanyu technically gaining 4 spots to finish P15, but I really don't think it's really on merit, which no discrediting Zhou. I love having him in the race. I love having his personality in the race, but yeah, none of your positions were really on. Well, one was on merit. Correction, one was on merit. And then for your other 5, you have Carlos, who DNF'd, but technically gains 4 positions from that. Franco Colapinto, who also DNF'd, losing one position from that, finishing P17. Not finishing, but finishing. Alex Albon did not start, losing 11 positions and being classified P18. Lance Stroll losing 9 spots and being classified P19 after both of those did not start. And P20, your DSQ, Nico Hülkenberg, losing 2 places.
Yeah, we had the whole alphabet. The only thing we did is we needed someone to not qualify. Which I guess probably could have happened because of the chaos, or if we had K-Mag or something, we could pop back in. So as you go into battles, a couple things that will go into this. We'll do one now, one later. Thank you, Reddit, for this one. I'm trying to find the name because I scrolled to the other one and lost it. Random person on Reddit. Thank you for posting it. Not the iCome Coffee dude. Luckily, neither of them are him, even though he's like the most trustworthy Redditor. With that name.
No. If I see information posted from him, I'm like, okay, I know this is probably accurate.
But Alpine, and this I guess we could have put into our stars about it. Alpine scored more points than everybody.
Yeah, they did. I noticed that whenever I was doing mine, I was like, oh my god.
There it is. There, I finally found it. But yes, but there's another thing, but I think it's more relevant for after battles.
Fair enough.
Battles.
Well, then into our battles. We start, of course, with the driver championship. It's really just 2 at this point. It is Max and Lando. Max can technically win in Vegas if he. I think the stipulation. There's probably some like.
That's the thing I was going to bring up.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that sort of leads into it, I guess. But yes, Max Verstappen can win in Vegas again, with a couple of different stipulations here and there or whatever. Lando has to win by points. So he has to have Max seriously fuck up these last 3 races for him to stand a chance. And what'll be heartbreaking is if he loses by 8 points. Or 7, because if it weren't for the sprint race this weekend and Max getting penalized 5 seconds and losing a spot, so losing a point, it would have been 8. So we'll know what it's from. Anyways, Charles Leclerc I didn't even get into the point differences between Max and Lando, but we'll get to that here in just a second. Charles Leclerc was eliminated from the P1 contention. He has 307 points. The cutoff amount is 307 points, and he cannot win by countback.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to say, I was like, he technically could still win on. He could get the points, but he will lose off the wins. So
correct. So he could get P2, but he cannot get P1, which is unfortunate. It's been a great year for Charles, honestly. Well, it wasn't, but it was.
Yep.
I was like, there's definitely a string in there.
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah. The average Charles Leclerc season.
Yeah.
Point difference between Max and Lando. Max has 393 points. Lando has 331, so it's a difference of 62 points. Charles has 307 with a difference of 24 to Lando. Skipped a little bit further down because 4th and 5th kind of don't matter right now. We'll get to that later on in the season as we get to probably the next to last race. George and Lewis. George has 192 points after gaining 15 points this week. And he is 52 points back from Carlos. And Lewis Hamilton is at 190 after gaining 1 point this weekend. He has 2 back, of course, from George. So George overtook Lewis this weekend.
Wow.
We could see the handing off of the torch here as Lewis makes his way to Ferrari next year. On further down in the grid.
By a margin.
P11 through P14. So Yuki gained a spot this week.
Let's fucking go.
He's P11 in the Drivers' Championship.
He loves P11.
He loves P11. He's got to fight, though. And unfortunately, the person he's got to fight is Pierre Gasly.
No.
But he also has Nico Hülkenberg in front of him, so it could still play out one way or the other. Yuki has 28 points. He's 3 back from Nico. Pierre gained 4 spots this weekend to be right behind Yuki, exactly where he belongs.
Yep.
He has 26 points, so he's 2 points back from Yuki. Lance Stroll lost 2 positions this week. He is at 24 points, and he has 2 back from Pierre. And Esteban Ocon gained 5 positions in the Drivers' Championship. He is currently at 23 points, so he is 1 back from Lance Stroll. And I feel like he could definitely overtake Lance Stroll.
It kind of sucks. This was at the end of a triple header. Now we're going to break because momentum's a hell of a thing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely it is. That could absolutely make or break their season. But yeah, that's everything that I thought was relevant. Everyone else is like a few points here and there, and then like 20, 21, 22, and 23. Speaking of, I did notice, so the only way for Valtteri to not finish less than 20th in a 20-car grid is that he has to score at least 3 points, and Liam can score no more. Because even if he scores ace, so the highest positions, Zhou Guanyu finished P11, so already that's right up at that. He did that in the first race, so he is de facto, unless he scores a point or whatever, he is de facto that position. He is 21st, I think, and Liam Lawson has 2 points, so he would have to then score probably actually 3 points, but it depends, stipulations and all that. Anyways. Just a fun little fact for Valtteri. A not so fun fact. Yep. We love you, Valtteri. Maybe try bicycling.
Yeah.
You seem to be good at it.
I mean, you're good at racing. I think your car is just fucked.
Yeah, this is true. It's like you did great. Every time they bring up the track record.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, the Interlagos. And it's Valtteri.
Pretty sure last week was Valtteri as well. Mexico City.
Yes, because it was like, it's one of those ones that can never get broken, basically, because of the generation of car it was at the time. Yeah.
So, on to constructors. Your top 3 is McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull, and that is the fight for P1. They can all still technically make it, I believe. Yes. McLaren sitting at 593 points. Ferrari is sitting at 557, or 36 down from McLaren. Red Bull is sitting at 544, or 13 down from Ferrari. Mercedes has secured P4. There is no way they can get better or worse than P4. So they are P4 this year. Yeah, congrats to them. 382 points. We're skipping over Aston Martin because it's Aston Martin. Yeah. I mean, I love Fernando.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe work on your back a little bit. I'm getting kind of old.
Go have another preseason incident and reset yourself another 20 years.
Yeah. But moving down to P6, as we said earlier, Alpine taking P6, gaining 3 positions in the Constructors' Championship. 35 points gained. That brings them to 49, which is 37 behind Aston Martin. So they would have to have another couple of great weekends to catch up to Aston Martin. So Aston Martin is probably P5. Haas drops down a spot to P7 with 46 points, so only 3 behind Alpine, so they could definitely catch up to Alpine. Toro Rosso is at P8, also losing a spot because of the 3-spot jump. They came to 8 points this weekend. 44 points, so they're only 2 behind Haas, so that little grouping is very tight. Williams, also disappointing, losing a spot. They're in P9, which is unfortunately I feel like exactly where they belong. With 17 points, they're 27 behind Toro Rosso. And our favorite punching bag, Sauber, is P10 with 0 points.
Damn.
Sucks. I don't know what to
sucks for
I don't know what to tell you guys. Fix your fucking car.
Yeah, Sauber will not be fixing their car. Audi will, though.
Oh yeah,
Audi will.
Audi will fix it, hopefully. Next week is a break.
Nothing. Yeah.
But then the next week
It's also a break.
is another break. But then the week after that, we begin the home stretch. Triple header.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. I know I pronounced that the stupid American way for Qatar, but
Qatar.
I'm a stupid American, so. But yeah, Vegas, baby. Get your Spurs that go jingle, jangle, jingle.
Vegas.
Vegas.
So, going back to a little bit to the championship race, World Drivers' Championship. This is from Reddit. Lantern to Safety. Thank you, Lantern to Safety. Please don't post anything else weird that makes me regret saying your name on there. They said, just as all a very complicated spreadsheet on Max can win in Vegas, so here's a simple one. Basically, Lando needs to get a P1.
Ah, great.
So if Lando finishes P1, Max doesn't help. Max can't clinch it. Will still probably lead depending, but P2, Max needs P1, Lando P3, Max needs P2, Lando gets P4, Max only needs a P5. Lando finishes P9 or worse, anything, Max will clinch. And to even simplify it even further, Lando has to outscore Max by 3 points in Vegas. That's it.
Fair enough.
So easily winnable and easily not.
That's just to keep him alive. That's not even to overtake. That's just to stay alive.
Yeah, that's for Max to not clinch in Vegas.
Yeah.
So.
Wonderful.
Yep. 2-week break. Should be good. Every mechanics go get some rest. God. I know you guys probably Williams and got it. That's a fucking fly. Yeah, they got to fly it, right?
Yeah.
Fly a couple chassis back to the factory over the 2 weeks, and then fly them all the way back to the States. Probably Mercedes has one. Aston Martin, I'm sure they have enough. They're rich. They have millions of
I'm sure.
monocoques just sitting there. They'll be fine.
Yeah, just a warehouse full of them.
Yep.
There'll be 14 in there somewhere.
Yeah. Why? No, there's 18.
Yeah, true.
But yep, I think that is it for now. Hey, we did get final classification and everything. Not on Wednesday this week. Or not on Wednesday 3 days from now.
Yeah.
Yep, everybody enjoy your break. Go out on, if for you United States boyos, girlos, and non-binarios, go vote.
Please go vote.
I'm not even gonna just vote who you want to. I'm not even gonna, just go vote. This is important. No matter who you vote for.
Go vote.
It's just like driver of the day, but more important. So much more important.
I could be illegal.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into that. Not that I don't want to get into it because it's an uncomfortable subject. Just, yeah. It's ridiculous that it's even a possibility. So, anyway, now we got to end it on that note.
Vegas, baby!
We'll see you in Vegas.
Follow the pod everywhere at DSQ Pod. And follow the crew at Medic50 and at Goalie Cody 30.